Before time, before light, before everything we know, there is a truth so deep that it escapes our understanding. Jesus already existed. But how is that possible? How can we comprehend someone who was present long before the universe took shape? In chapter 17 of the Gospel of John, we find something astonishing, not a sermon, nor a grand miracle, but something even more intimate and revealing, a prayer. A prayer that tears through the veil of time and takes us into the very heart of Jesus, revealing mysteries that few have had the privilege to hear. Get ready to discover the eternal glory of the Son of God, a secret that spans the ages and touches each of us today. It was night. A sacred silence hung over the upper room. The disciples had no idea they were about to witness one of the most sublime moments in human history. Just before being betrayed, arrested, and delivered to the agony of the cross, Jesus lifts his eyes to heaven, not in despair, but in total communion. What follows is not a lament nor a selfish request. It is the prayer of God made man, recorded in John 17. A prayer that is at once a cry, a revelation, and a window into eternal secrets. He begins, "Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you." These words echo with heavenly weight. It was the hour awaited since before the foundation of the world, the moment when the plan of redemption would be sealed in blood. But Jesus goes further. He speaks of the glory he had with the Father before the world existed. It's as if he's taking us by the hand and saying, "Come, let me show you who I really am." His glory didn't begin in Bethlehem. That child in the manger already carried eternity on his shoulders. This prayer is not just a theological exposition. It's an intimate moment, almost like a reunion between two beings who share an eternity of love. And now, the Son cries out to the Father, asking for the veil to be torn, for the glory hidden beneath the skin of a carpenter to once again be revealed to the universe. Let's go back to the beginning, or rather, before the beginning. Before time was time, before darkness yielded to "let there be light," there was God, and with him was the Word. John describes it with eternal words. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Jesus didn't come into existence at the virgin birth. He precedes Eden, Genesis, angels, and stars. He is. That is the essence of divinity. Without, beginning without end, self-existent, and more than just existing, he was in perfect communion with the Father. Not a superficial coexistence, but absolute unity, shared thoughts, harmonious will, intertwined glory. That's why the Incarnation is such a profound mystery. The Creator became creature without ever ceasing to be God. The eternal entered time. He who formed the heavens now gazed at them from the dust of Palestine. This eternal relationship between Father and Son is the foundation of our faith. Because we don't just follow a great man, we follow the eternal Son, co-eternal with the Father, whose glory precedes all existence. The prayer of John 17 is a deep dive into the heart of the Trinity. Jesus, the incarnate Word, speaks directly to the Father. There are no ceremonies or religious formulas. What we see is a conversation between two infinite beings, marked by intimacy and revelation. Jesus speaks of glory, not the glory of human applause, but glory that transcends the cosmos. He prays, "Glorify me in your presence with the glory I had with you before the world began." Here, he's not merely recalling the past, he is declaring his full identity. Jesus knew who he was. He didn't need to be convinced of his divinity. His mission on earth was not improvisation. It was the culmination of a plan born in the heart of the Trinity. And then, surprisingly, he begins to pray for us, not just for the disciples beside him, but for all who would one day believe in his name. He prays that we may be one, a unity as strong as that between him and the Father. This is not cold religion. It is a call to live in the same communion that the Father and Son have always shared. It is an invitation to enter the eternal circle of divine love. As we reflect on the life of Jesus, we notice something extraordinary. Everything he did, said, or accomplished had a single purpose: to glorify the Father. From the first miracles in Capernaum to his last breath on the cross, Jesus lived as a reflection of the Father's will. Every healing, every parable, every confrontation with the Pharisees was a demonstration of God's character. And he himself declared in his prayer, "I have glorified you on earth by completing the work you gave me to do." This is the apex of obedience. Jesus didn't just live in holiness, he fulfilled the entire plan. Even as the cross loomed like a heavy shadow, he pressed on. On the cross, Jesus showed us that the true glory of God is not manifested only in power, but in sacrifice. The Father's glory shines brightest where love is poured out to the end. Then, with a heart full of reverence and certainty, Jesus makes a direct request: "Glorify me with the glory I had with you before the world existed." He's not asking for prestige, human honor, or earthly recognition. He's pleading for the full restoration of his heavenly condition. The eternal glory that was, for a time, veiled in flesh, is about to be restored. After the sacrifice, after the resurrection, Jesus is fully aware of who he is. Even clothed in humanity, even weary and sweating blood in Gethsemane, he knows he is the eternal Son, one with the Father, clothed in majesty from eternity past. This is one of the most revealing moments in the Bible. Jesus, on the verge of death, reaffirms his divinity and his mission with absolute clarity. He is about to endure shame, but will soon return to glory. This prayer, far from being an isolated moment, confirms a bold statement Jesus had already made: "I and the Father are one." John 10:30. At the time, this statement caused scandal. The religious leaders knew exactly what he was claiming, and that's why they wanted to stone him. But now, in John 17, we see the true meaning of that unity. Jesus doesn't just declare that unity, he prays within it. It is a dialogue between equals. No subordination of essence, only distinction of roles. Father and Son, two persons, one nature. And he desires that this same heavenly unity be reflected in the church, a people who live in love, truth, and purpose, just as the Father and the Son have done since eternity. And then, with his eyes on the future, Jesus prays for us, for me, for you, for all who would come to believe over the centuries. He says, "Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am and to see my glory." It is a request full of tenderness. Jesus wants us to be with him, not just as spectators, but as participants in his glory. And more, he affirms that the love the Father has for us is a love that existed before the foundation of the world. That means you were already loved before you were born. That love is eternal. It does not depend on merit. It wasn't born of your faith. Your faith is a response to that love. That is the depth of the gospel. We were chosen, loved, and called to see Christ's glory from eternal ages past. If any doubt remained about the majesty of Jesus, the book of Revelation tears the veil with power. John, now elderly and exiled on the island of Patmos, has a vision that changes everything. He sees the glorified Christ, not the suffering servant, but the exalted King. His eyes are like flames of fire. They penetrate all. His voice is like the sound of rushing waters, impossible to ignore. His face shines like the sun in all its brilliance. John falls as if dead. The presence is overwhelming. Jesus now reveals himself as the sovereign Lord. This is the Jesus who prays in John 17, the one who was in glory, came into the world, conquered death, and now reigns eternally. And he speaks with divine authority. "I am the first and the last, the living one. I was dead, and behold, I am alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and Hades." He is not just a historical figure. He is the eternal, the immortal, the sovereign over life and death. He didn't just experience death, he conquered it. Jesus holds the keys. He has authority over what we fear most, and he invites us to trust in him, to follow him, and to wait for the final revelation of the glory he has shared with the Father forever. This is the hope of those who believe, not a fragile or symbolic faith, but a living confidence in a risen Lord who reigns with power, love, and eternal glory. This chapter reveals a fascinating mystery. Jesus is not just a historical figure, but the eternal Son who existed before time, in full glory with the Father. His prayer in John 17 shows us the depth of this divine relationship and invites us to be part of that unity and eternal love. Want to understand more about who Jesus really is, his mission, and how this truth can transform your life? Then don't stop here. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comment, and like to continue this incredible journey of discovery about the one who changed the course of humanity forever. Are you ready to go deeper and dive further into this truth? Follow the next videos, and thank you for staying with us this far.